Hey, welcome to Integrated Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. Well, I got up this morning to see the most beautiful snow that I'd ever seen, I think. Just coming down in the biggest flakes. They look like a bunch of little frisbees floating down through the air, covering everything. Of course, the kids were excited. They didn't get a snow day, but they were excited because, snow, when it first started snowing, kind of makes everybody happy. We don't get irritated with it until it becomes forever and a bunch of slush. But it was a nice, beautiful snow. Actually, I'd hoped to get out there while I was still snowing, but I got busy here with my daily routine, and now the sun's coming out and warming up a little bit. I had gone out. We're looking for some cold weather coming in. They say, it changes by the day. I already have some things in the ground. I already have some tomatoes and other things in the ground. So I'd gone out last night and covered them up with buckets and pickle buckets that I'm getting ready to use to store food in. And that's a good reminder. If you don't have a source for good buckets, I'd suggest you develop one. Try to find one. You can get them for free all over the place. Bakeries. I get them from. Well, I won't say where I get them from, but a lot of times if you go back into a bakery of one of the big grocery stores or whatever, they get a lot of their stuff in plastic buckets, and they'll be happy to give them to you if you're just nice. Some of them won't, but it's a numbers game. Just go to another one. I always find that it's better if Kelly goes than if I go, because she has such a pleasant way about her that I don't necessarily have, and it seems like the world is just always happy to give her whatever she wants. Isn't that funny? So anyway, I had covered up a bunch of the plants out there. I brought in a lot of the seedlings that I have going. Our final freeze day is usually, if you check the Farmer's Almanac, in this area is about the 21st, 22nd of April. And that's right where we are here. And it says it's going to go down to freezing tonight on the 21st and tomorrow night, the 22nd. So it's almost like magic, isn't it? But that's what they say. So I've taken a chance. I've put some things in the ground. We'll see how they do. If they do well, I've got a head start. And if they don't do well, I'll just start all over again, right? But I've got a lot of seedlings that I've brought back inside, so I'm sure we're going to be fine. The one thing that's a problem is the same thing happened last year, that we had a pretty warm early spring, and the peach trees and the apple trees started budding, and they're just going to town. They're going great guns right now. And then if we get a freeze, then that just knocks them out. They try to get started again, but they just don't. And we got very few peaches last year. Peaches can be kind of fickle things. Um, and this year we expect our first real apple crop in, so I hope it didn't take that out. The elderberries have been coming in great, and I hope it doesn't knock them back. So we have the mulberries. So we've got a lot of things coming in, and it just kind of depends on when you garden, you gamble. And when you farm, you gamble, and this is where a lot of food insecurity can creep in the door. You got to be. If I had waited, another couple of weeks to put things in, everything would be fine for the most part. As long as you keep them watered, you're going to have good weather. You're going to have the temperature that you need, and usually the sunlight that you need, depending on where you plant. Anyway, I didn't mean this to get off into a big old gardening situation. It just happened to be what's on my mind. So anyway, we'll see how we get through the next couple of days. I came down. My main purpose in this one, and I wasn't going to put one up today. We're all kind of waiting to see what's going to happen up in Minneapolis with the trial up there. I've already put up a couple on the last two on this, and now we're just waiting. um, so I wasn't going to shoot one today, but I came down. And got started on my day, which starts with drinking coffee and sitting in my office. This is my office because I people think, well, that's your living room. Yes, it is. It's my living room, Well, it's my front room, okay, as opposed to a family room, for those of you who make that distinction. I like it. It's comfortable. I've got one of my bookcases in here. It's got a couch that's comfortable for me to sit on. I can look out the front window at the world. And when I get up, I come down here, I start drinking coffee and checking the news of the day. And then I will check some emails, do a little business essentially, and wait for Kelly to come down. And she'll come down and I'll drink coffee and she'll drink something else. And no, she doesn't drink that kind of stuff in the morning. Um, and we'll just kind of visit as the day gets on, and I'll do some writing and things like that. Well, while I'm going through those things, checking the different things, that don't take a lot of brain work, I usually check and see if anybody's got a video on that I want to watch. And the three that I will always watch at the top of my day will be Joe Fox over at Viking Preparedness, Real World Prepper, if he's got anything up, in Zombie Farmer, if he's got anything up. Those are my three top two. Three top two. Those are my top three. Also, if Steve out of Corsair Trainers has anything up, I like watching him stuff. So I'm giving just kind of what my pattern is for the morning. But something came up today from a channel that I don't watch. I've watched a couple. I know that I've seen a couple of his in the past. But something came up and it kind of grabbed me. And it was something about coming out of the closet. And now, having seen this guy before, I thought, okay, well, that's not what he's talking about. I think I remember enough about him to know that it's probably not, what you think. And usually I don't click on that stuff, but I did. I'm glad I did. And I want to make a recommendation on this. The title of his, and the site is, let me get this over here so I can make sure that I get it right. The Prepared Homestead. Okay. And the guy's name is Travis. And you can tell he's a thoughtful guy. Anyway, the name of it is It's Time to Come Out of the Closet, and You Need to Also. So I watched that, and I was kind of half listening to it. For the first couple of minutes, he was kind of leading into it, and doing my other stuff while I had it playing over to the side. And then all of a sudden, some of his message started seeping into my brain, and I started listening closer, and I turned away from the things that I was doing and started paying attention. And I'm glad I did. He addressed some very, very important issues in our country. And I know all of us here care about these issues. Now, we may have differing opinions on what can be done, what should be done. That's okay. It's just like I've said before. Don't call anybody names because they don't think differently than you. Don't be disparaging of others and say, well, don't you know? I mean, that's just, hey, our founding fathers had very differing ideas on how things ought to be done, right? So I don't at all disagree with disagreement. Okay, I don't complain about that at all. Just be polite about it, courteous about it. But anyway, Travis over here at Prepared Homestead covered this stuff. That's a very important issue. I think better than I've ever heard anyone encapsulate it before, including me. Okay. Now I talk about some of this stuff, but I tend not to. I have never claimed to be a good teacher of anything. I don't have the heart of a teacher, to be honest, except situationally. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, and that's not the mark of a good teacher. Those people who are good teachers are able to go back and address and cover the fundamentals over and over and over and over again with different people. And I think that that's great. I admire that ability. I have some of my students that are better teachers than I, because of that, in that regard. But it's simply not a skill that I have. Well, Travis does, and he covers these things in such a way that it's organized. It makes perfect sense. He does it much better than I have, and he does it better maybe than anybody I've ever heard. So I want to make my whole purpose here, wasn't to tell you about how I covered up my tomato plants, but was I would suggest that you go over and check this out. I'm going to go, I'm going to start paying attention. I'm going to start watching some of his stuff coming up, because if this video is indicative of the rest of his channel, I definitely want to be watching. I'm going to put the link down here below, and I think I'll put it above my own, the information where I have, to where you can, go to buy my books and things like that, because I don't want it to get lost in the rest of it. I'll put it up there. And I definitely suggest that you check this out. Listen to this one in particular, and then going on and watch some of his other stuff. I can't give a recommendation for all of his other stuff, simply because I haven't watched it, but I'm going to. But this one was so good, I do want to recommend it. So I'll put it down there, and go over and give it a watch. And if you decide, let him know. Please let him know that I sent you over there. I think it's great when people know that other channels have watched them and recommend them, and it helps everybody. And we all, and when somebody says, gosh, so and so sent me, it feels good to let you know, hey, that's kind of somebody that's on my team. I've always just felt great when people will say, hey, so and so sent me, and I'm glad he did. So let's do that, and support these other people. So that's all I want to say today. I will sign off with my tag that we have to remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. I think that Travis over at Prepared Homestead addresses a lot of these things in an excellent way to help us think about that. And now we're going to be waiting to see what happens with some of these going-ons in our country. So I'll leave it at that. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.